Hi guys, welcome to Travel with Austin. I'm Austin. Today we are here in Weston, West Virginia, and we are at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. This is a former Kirkbride asylum that is now open for tours, both public and private, as well as photography tours and also paranormal tours. We are going to be touring the full Kirkbride section today, and in the future we're going to be doing some videos on the outside buildings that we're allowed in. So first we're going to go ahead and start with the museum. So we're not going to stop and take a look at a lot of this because really you should be coming here in person and, coming and giving them your patronage if you can. But we're going to take a look at, just some of the items they have on display. Some really, really cool things, old things from the asylum, from West Virginia history, stuff like that. Look at that. Ooh. Old cameras and stuff. Then they have different nurses' uniforms throughout the years. And yeah, these just kind of are like dresses and stuff, but then there's two doctors here, or at least one doctor. And then of course in the back there is a research room where you can look at some of the records here. Out in the main hallway, you're going to see we have those beautiful arches back there. We have an old car here. Possibly a Model T? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, that's a Model T. An old derby car here. And then we have the lobotomy room. So you can see we have an old chair where they could strap you down for the lobotomy. We have other medical displays in here, including lithiated 7-Up. So that's interesting. Let's see. Lithium was used in soda as a mood stabilizer. These bottles were found on site, but the labels were added for the display. We have a TV here that shows off a transorbital lobotomy. And then we have a lobotomy hammer and pick. So, and you can see Freeman on it for Dr. Walter Freeman. Walking into this room, we have electroshock therapy. A bed here. We have a mannequin that is supposed to be Sigmund Freud. And then some more old medical equipment here. Then when we walk into this room, which has other treatments, it looks like they took some dummies from their haunted house because they look quite scary. And then my least favorite of all is this one in the corner that looks very much like a real person that could at any point get up and just like attack you. And here is a tranquilizing chair. So let's go ahead and we'll go out here. And so this is more of the museum. And again, I'm not going to fully show this off because you should come and give this place your patronage. But one thing I have to point out is this Kirkbride building's info card. You can see we have the Ridges listed first. That is not the Ridges. That is the Institution for the Feeble-Minded in Columbus, Ohio, which is not the Ridges. And someone said that, I believe someone said that the Worcester State Lunatic Asylum is also not a picture of the correct one. So, at least I can say that the Buffalo one is Buffalo. So, if you walk down this area, you can get more history about the asylum, the Civil War, you know, how it was self-sufficient. And then about halfway through, you get into here, and this is kind of like a meeting room, but it's also the break room for ghost hunts. And they do have a bunch of movie posters on the wall. Now, I believe One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one that was filmed at the Oregon State Hospital, if I'm right. Could be wrong there. And I know that for a lot of times, Arkham Asylum is based off the Buffalo Asylum, but I'm not really sure what the other ones all have in common. So again, I'll just give you some quick looks on this area because, you know, this is part of how they make their money and restore it. So you should definitely come and visit in person. But we are going to be exploring the whole Kirkbride too, so we don't want to spend too much time here. Now I will say, as we get down here, these pieces of furniture are all original to the asylum. They are from the 1930s. So this is what the furniture would have looked like in the 1930s. Honestly, I vibe with it pretty hard. It's pretty good looking. Now, we're heading out of the museum section into one of the offshoot buildings. So, I do believe at this point we are technically out of the original Kirkbride, and we are now in like one of the little additions on the back. So, we're gonna go this way to show it off better. So actually, I think I was wrong. I think we are still in part of the Kirkbride. So when you get to the back of the Kirkbride, there are these little additions onto it that are connected. It's kind of like how at the Ridges, the building that was known as the Mental Retardation Center is connected directly to the Kirkbride. They have their own version of that here on each side. However, it is different. Instead of one big square building, these are smaller buildings that are shaped like E's. So, here would be the actual end of the Kirkbride section. As you can see, it ends in one of those cool window styles. I forget what I call them. But now we're in the connecting building to one of these E-shaped buildings. And we're going to take a look around here. Now, these parts are much smaller. So, they're also a lot more open. So you can see, you know, definitely doesn't fit the normal description of what we would consider a Kirkbride because they are in fact additions. So, as you walk here, you will see stuff from like the tours, and I imagine that this would be on the paranormal tour where they put down some sort of powder, probably baby powder, and they caught a footprint. And then there is another example up here as well. It may actually be on the floor below now that I'm thinking. Here's one of the bathrooms, and this is what the stalls would look like. So some of the other ones did have doors on them, but you didn't have full privacy, which definitely not my thing. I like privacy. So back here we have this. I think this was like, this looks like a salad bar kind of. Then we have cabinets and stuff. And then basically we just have this large empty room. And when I say it was large and empty, I do in fact mean that, because as we come up here to the end, guess what? It just ends large and empty. So let me go ahead and as we're walking, there is another floor to this building that we're going to go down to. So, even though this is the first floor technically, they consider this the sub-level, but due to like elevation changes and stuff, it does open out to the outside grounds. There is also a basement, but the basement is off limits, unfortunately. So, if you were to keep going there, you could get to the basement, but it is completely locked up. So, here is another one of the ghost hunt things. Again, this is just another large empty room. But apparently during the filming of this music video, they caught this reflection in the back, and they say it is something paranormal, so it would have been caught somewhere in these windows. We kind of think maybe it was just someone's reflection, but you know. Now, we're continuing to walk through, and you can see this section is a bit different. It's a bit more wide open, whereas on the upper floor we had different rooms and stuff. You can see we have an old TV up there. And then assuming this is another paranormal thing, only thing I can maybe guess is maybe it's supposed to be like an apparition right there in the middle, but I really can't tell. So let's continue on this way. I don't think there's really much to see down this end, but still show it to you anyway. So yeah, it really just kind of ends down here. Got some closets and storage and stuff. Nothing too special. So we are going to go and head back now to the main section of the Kirkbride and head back up to the first floor. And the area we see next is actually going to be an area that was partially renovated. So they have it set up here for a talk. It does seem like the talk is, of course, about lobotomies. That is a patient who got a lobotomy. And Lucy actually said that that particular person in that picture wrote a book about their experience. And she believes they only died recently, which is kind of crazy. This hallway has, you know, some nice paintings and stuff. If you want to pause and read that, you can, but this is already going to be a very long video, so I imagine that these were all done by the patients during their time here. I should say we are here on the photography tour, which is why we have free roam. And part of that free roam is you don't get a history. So I'm sure all of this stuff is explained on the history tours if you go on them. But we opted for the photography tour so that we could come through, take our photos and videos, you know. But I would definitely recommend, I'd recommend either one, honestly. The history tours can tell you a lot about the place, and the photography tours give you time to roam on your own and, you know, take the photos and videos you need to take. So, look at these cabinets. Okay. So, I should say that we're not going to go into every room here. They told us there were over 900 rooms, and I'm not sure if that includes all of the buildings or just the Kirkbride complex part. So, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and head back to the center section and then go to the other side. Not sure if I pointed this out last time. Nice little area. The one on the restored side is much cooler, and you'll see that in just a few moments. While we're walking here, let's just take a peek at the back here. So, let's give you a nice view of their yard. As we head on over to the other side. Okay, so now we are in the side that they have been renovating over the years to make it look like how it could have looked back when it was in use. So, it's not perfect, but it's honestly cool because you can't really see this anywhere else. Now again, these 100% have to be like dummies from the haunted house that are being used over here because they are creepy. I mean, just looking down this hallway gives you an idea of, you know, what it would have looked like back in the day. It's really cool, really unique. You know, and they do have certain rooms, like this looks like it was made into a reading room. There's a typewriter, there's an old boiler heater. And then, just to give you a look, even though we'll be using them in a bit, there's one of the staircases. Then look at this day room, how nice it's been restored. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, I believe she said that this was restored how it would have looked at the very end of the 1800s and very beginning of the 1900s, is what they were going for with this one. So, you do have this nice restored section, the beautiful colors. Got a little dining room area here. And then we do have some historic photos. And then we are going to transition out of that area and then into the still unused section. But you can see we have all the different colors and stuff on the wall still. Some of the rooms have glass slots on them. This room is a bit different, so we'll take a look at it. It's got that nice curve coming in. And then the day room here, just a little bit different because it doesn't have an exit to the outside. And look at this old Philco TV. Then again, here's kind of a historical photo of what that would have looked like. And let's continue on. So down here we have the room. I cannot remember her name. I believe it's supposed to be Lily. It's supposed to be haunted by the ghost of a child. As you can see, lots of people leave toys and stuff around here. I even left one of my octopuses here for her. But this is supposed to be inhabited by the spirit of a child. So that is one of the more haunted rooms here. Again, this is what a historical photo would have looked like. And this is today. And then here is a picture of the old male geriatric ward. And as you can read here, it had one toilet available for 57 patients. This building no longer exists. Now, once again, we are leaving the main Kirkbride and going into one of the additions. But while we do, I just want to point out this right here. You can't see the full building, but that is the TB ward. Unfortunately, that has been completely renovated into a haunted house. So it is no longer used for any type of tour, which does suck because it does look like it'd be fun to photograph. Then again, here from the outside again, you can see the spire on the clock tower. And then they have these faces. They say that they were believed to ward off evil spirits. And if you walk around certain parts of the asylum, you'll still see some of them up on it. So here is this area. I'm not 100% sure what it was used for, but it does mirror the other side pretty well. You can see they do have patient profiles here on the walls. Lots of dementia mania. And a historical photo there for you. So, okay. Based off this photo, it looks like this was just like mass bedding. And we're going to continue down the hallway here. And we do have some carriages here, which is really cool. You can tell they have them caution taped off so you don't get too close to them. And then this room that has a bit of drips in it used to be the kitchen. And you can actually see we do still have some equipment in here. Here is their soda machine. They had Dr. Pepper, they had RC Cola, then they had something called Upper 10, which I have never heard of. They also have a Pepsi ice cooler there, so they probably had some Pepsi products. But I've never heard of Upper 10. If you have, let me know what it is. I'm guessing probably like a Sprite / 7-Up / Sierra Mist type deal. And then again, here is more of the kitchen back rooms. And then these are just like storage and closets and a bathroom back here. So let's go ahead and head back out here. We are 25 minutes in and we are still on the first floor, which is kind of insane. This is a big place. It is actually smaller than the Ridges, but the thing about the Ridges is we only really get to see one part at a time in my videos, so they are kind of divided up like that. So then again, another wide open area like the other one. Some history of the area here. Talking about the Civil War and stuff like that. And again, just a nice look in there. And then we have the clothing issue closet, which has this cool design on it. And then we go further back out here, and I don't really think there's much in this area, but there is this room that says Dr. Villaseñor on it. And wow, it does just keep going. So this is the employee restroom, and this is where it would have connected to the tuberculosis building. Very sad that we can't see that. Just storing some chairs in there. Now, I don't know if this one will be open or not. It won't be. But if you can see, there's like parts of a skeleton in there. So let's go ahead and go into this little room that overlooks this whole area. It was definitely like a staff room. And oh my gosh, it's like an army of the 12-foot tall Home Depot skeletons. You can never say that they don't like Halloween here. Okay. So now we are finally going to head up to the second floor, but we do have to go into the internal staircases to get there. And I know I already pointed this out, but I really do like this mural, the asylum ball. It's got all the like fog and smoke, and then it just shows the clock tower. So let's go ahead and get back in here. So they did say that this was 242,000 square feet. However, again, they didn't specify if that was just the Kirkbride section or if that was including the outbuildings as well. But let's go ahead and get to this staircase. Definitely getting my steps in. Oh, well, it's not really anything important in there. So let's go ahead and go to the second floor. As you can see, this would have been Ward 5 that we're entering into. And again, here is another day room section. Very interesting design here. And And you can see all the different rooms and stuff. Again, we don't have time to go through every single room. But here is one of their larger day room type rooms. And again, here is the very end of the wing. Here's a better look at that teepee building. And outside look of the additions. So we are now going to start making our way into the central section. And I do promise that it will start to go a bit quicker now, since we won't have to double back as much. And a lot more of these rooms are going to be empty compared to the other ones. So I'll kind of only start showing you the ones that have the interesting stuff in them. So for example, another kid's room filled with toys. Ooh. And this one has a chalkboard in it, or it doesn't look like a chalkboard. I don't know what that is. No, I think it is still a chalkboard. It just has a grid on it. So, this is locked, and for good reason, because, shoot, maybe it's not locked. No, it is locked, because it's a drop-off. So, you know, kind of a good reason to be locking that one off. Then again, we're here in another section. Looks like we got a nice storage area over here. Oh, and there's some showers in here too. That's pretty cool. You can see where they put arrows on the floors and stuff to like guide people. And then we have a bathroom. So here's the actual bathroom part. And then here's like the sinks and mirrors where they could get ready. And then another one of the day rooms. This one does have a more normal chalkboard in it. So that's definitely pretty interesting, pretty cool. Again, it does have this design on it. And here's a more historical photo. I don't think this is the same section. That looks like the floor below that we were on that got restored. Here is the 1982 Dre Productions Fire Pre-Plan. Again, one of the staircases. And now we are about to head into the central section again. The central section, the admin area, they said has pretty much been completely restored, so it'll be interesting to see this. Oh wow, this is absolutely beautiful. So, tons of different old furniture. Chandelier, not that grand, but it's still good. The archways are all nice and painted. Here's what it looked like under construction. Now, ooh, look at that construction photo. So this is the grand staircase here. It's pretty cool. I do like it more than the grand staircase at the Ridges, but it is super enclosed, which I don't like. So, let's just take a look at all of these rooms. Dang, they are very nice. So this is like where the administrative family would have lived. And dang, it's extremely nice. They did a really good job restoring it. I'm assuming this is what it looked like back before they did. I mean, just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous area here. And then this is their balcony, which I do not think we can go onto. Yeah, no, we cannot go onto that. But just look at this gorgeous architecture and how amazing it looks refinished. It's just so beautiful. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that this section that they lived in overall might be bigger than my house. So they kind of did have it made. Of course, they did have, the duties of, taking care of patients and stuff. Ooh, this is a really cool before photo. Wow. I mean, they did a really good job. This one, I'd say maybe the floors could still need redone in here, but still. Wow. So, this is unfortunately blocked off, but I'm guessing maybe it would have been like his office. Like his actual office? I don't even know, actually, because a lot of these rooms look like offices. Wow, here is a Weston State Hospital 24-hour ward report from 1975. Ooh, here's a prescription pad if you want to write yourself some prescriptions. And here's a historical photo from back in the day. I mean, it's really just gorgeous. I love these built-in bookshelves here. And of course, we have all the various cabinets and stuff that they added, and the medicine bottles. Brandy, the best medicine. More dining. This wouldn't have been this area, but it's just showing off like a dining area. I love this cabinet. So now we're going to go into the other ward. Oh, and you can see, of course, they did eventually have to add an elevator in here. I assume it's functional for people who come here for the tours that would need to use it, but I'm not actually sure. So, first room to come upon is pretty unique. Possibly, I'm just guessing, we need to take a look on this side too. I would say maybe this is where they dispense medicine, but there's no place really for it to be dispensed. Very interesting. So we're going to keep going on. And again, I like this day room. Very nice. It seems like a nice place to relax. And here is a picture of what it would look like in the hallways back in the day. And this is what we have now. So, as we're walking through here, I honestly can't believe I haven't mentioned this already. If you're not familiar with the Kirkbride plan, the Kirkbride plan is a batwing asylum plan, and basically the idea was lots of air circulation, lots of light, and the moral treatment of patients. And it was thought to basically be able to help people more. And honestly, I don't disagree with that, because all of those things are good and good for people. It just seems like possibly, things didn't go as planned. So again, there is another drop-off. So I don't know why the arrows point it directly to the drop-off. That's kind of weird. But as we continue to walk down this section, so just to give you an idea here, we are on the second floor. So those would have been the doctor's apartments. And let's see. Part of this, Ward 5, which would have been where we started, would have been the children's ward. So that's why there were so many toys and children's stuff there. So we're going to keep going. There's no notes about the ward that we're in, which is Ward E, as I'm sure you guys saw from the sign. But hey, again, one of the non-benefits of a photography tour is you don't get the history, but you do get to roam around on your own, which, in my opinion, is great. So yeah, as you can see, this is the end of the main Kirkbride, and as I was talking about earlier, you can see where it continues on to the first floor for that E-shaped building. So now we're going to continue on. We're going to find a staircase to go up to the next floor. So I think we're making good time. This will probably be my longest video ever, but at the same time, it's a great big explore. And again, this is a place you can come to. I want to reiterate that. This is a Kirkbride that you can actually come and tour. They do both history tours, paranormal tours. That was loud, I'm so sorry. Photography tours, and ghost hunting. Okay, so now we are going to the third floor in Ward F. You can see the cages to the upper wards. And we're going to make sure that this closes gently behind us. So, we are entering the seclusion room area. So, we're just going to walk all the way to the end and then make our way back. So, even this area looks like it was kind of a bit of a seclusion room. So, you can see here, the rooms here are going to be a bit different because they have these chains on them. Now, some of them are much bigger, but I'm guessing these are more small individual seclusion rooms here. Yeah. So very small. I imagine that the reason they are fenced like this is so that they can keep an eye on you without having to actually open the doors or go in. So yeah, but then you can see this one, we have the normal chain link door. Then we got this big hefty metal door that they can close as well. And then it's not going to move anymore, but this whole thing was a lock. That's pretty, it's cool in a way, but it's also very inhumane. At the very least, it does look like they didn't have blocks on the windows. If you've seen the videos at the ridges, you know that their seclusion rooms have like blocks on the windows that reduce the amount of light coming in. So, some storage areas here. And then we are exiting the seclusion area. It is nice that it is a small seclusion area. That means that they, at least on this floor, didn't need a big one. Jeez, that is terrifying. Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever seen Hell House LLC? It's a series of horror movies that's on Shudder, and one of the big things in it are these clown dolls that like come to life and move on their own. That is giving the same exact vibes. So yeah, let's go ahead and wonder if there's another drop off on this floor. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Huh, very interesting. I imagine the ones on the second floor used to be fire escapes, I assume. I'm guessing this is a massive laundry chute. That's my best guess anyway. Oh, and we have the end of this one set up as a little hospital area. Very interesting. And again, something I don't think I pointed out is a lot of the room, or the first floor at least, I can't remember the second floor, the tiles were gone. We still have the tiles on this floor. So that is very cool. And again, here's a look at how these day rooms would have looked back in the day. It'd be really cool if they could restore like the full paint details sometime. But of course that does, take a lot of time and money. So it is understandable that they haven't fully been able to do that yet. And you would have to find someone extremely skilled. So this is an interesting room. We'll check it out. Kind of seems like a ward doctor's office. Ooh. I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. Vapor on, vapor off, oxygen flush. I don't even know what's supposed to be in there. I don't like this machine. I don't know what it is. I don't like that machine. I don't know what it's meant for, but I do not like it. Oh. Kind of like a little lab area next door. And we're gonna keep going. Beautiful, beautiful. You can see, like, there is not a light on in this ward. That's all just natural light that's coming in, which is amazing because you wouldn't need lights as much. Now the central admin building, yeah, you kind of do need lights more. Now let me go ahead and pull this out real quick because we are on the third floor. So this was the nurses' apartments. And the wards we actually just came from, Ward F was violent men, and Ward C was for violent women. So that is something interesting to take into account. So these are where, the nurses would have stayed. So you can tell these rooms are much smaller and less grand than the ones down below. Very beautiful. It's still not a bad place to stay. So far we're at 5 nurses could live here. Now 7 nurses. 8, 9 nurses, 10, 11 nurses. So assuming that these bed placements are historically accurate, which we probably don't know for sure, it seems like about 11 people could have lived in this area. So that's 11 of your staff who just always could be here. Or maybe it was like a rotational thing where, you know, you'd live here and be on call for a week, then you live at home for a week. I don't personally know. Now here is their auditorium slash ballroom. So, unlike the Ridges, where the ballroom had a great fire and then was divided into two, that didn't happen here. And you can still see this auditorium takes up both floors. And we will see it when we go up to the 4th floor, but they don't have a traditional balcony, but they do have windows up there that like more important people could go and look and watch out from. So yes, they still have their auditorium. It's in great condition. It does look like they're doing some structural work up there to keep it sound. It doesn't have the cool pillars that the Ridges does, but you can see the wood across the top holding everything together. So let's go ahead and we're going to enter Ward 3. It is interesting to me that one side of the wards are based on letters and the other side is based on numbers. So there is an elevation change between these wards and there is a ramp in place. And once again, we're just going to point out like the coolest things, such as this design on the wall here, because if I took you into every room, this would be a much longer video than it already is. So, there is a whiteboard. It does say ward programs. I couldn't see that being from the asylum when it was in use, because it did close in 1994, and I just can't see a world where in 31 years no one erased it. But maybe that's what it originally said and they like rewrote it. So, not really much going on here. However, as we enter into this next ward, on my little map that I have, it says that we are entering into the ward for the criminally insane. Now, there is also a criminally insane building here, also known as the forensics building. So, I kind of wonder if they had an overflow of the criminally insane, or if this was a lesser criminally insane than the other one, for lack of better words. I mean, everything in here seemingly seems the same. This one looks a bit different. Ooh, okay. So there's kind of like a seclusion cage in here. Still has a day room section. I mean, it doesn't seem too much heightened over here, at least in my opinion. So maybe this was more just like a mildly criminally insane. And the back forensics building, which you can see in a different video, was worse, presumably. So yeah, I mean, it's empty, but it doesn't seem, I mean, the doors are metal instead of wood. Other than that, it doesn't seem too high security here, at least in my opinion. And I did notice that the stairs door we're about to take is still wooden. In fact, this door is wooden. So, I don't know. Okay, so this isn't wooden. I just saw the brown and thought it was. But as we enter into the 4th floor, there is a cage door we have to walk past. So, as we walk up here, let me pull out my map. So, doesn't really tell us any details other than the wood floors up here. Oops, sorry. So, this would have been the top floor / attic section. The rooms up here are smaller, mainly just because of the ceilings.
I'm sorry to interrupt your video. What's your YouTube channel?
Travel with Austin.
Holy shit. I went to Athens, the Ridges yesterday. I was watching your videos before I went.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Joe. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I love your videos, man.
Thank you.
Of course, have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Yeah, and so, what is this? Okay, so I guess we can't go further than this, because the floorboards are having issues. You can see there's like a ventilation fan there. This room is actually bigger, and so is this one. I definitely went past that sign. Oops. Yeah. Sorry, that was very cool. That's never happened before. Yeah. I like the wood floors up here. They are creaky though. And these, I don't know, I kind of vibe with this section, although it would probably be the worst section to get into, especially during the summer, because it would probably be so humid up here. And you can actually, like, look here at the door where it's warping a bit, probably from that summer humidity. So it's like, they're very cool rooms in theory, but I would probably hate summer up here. So, just again, looking at more of the rooms up here. And, oh, sorry.
I'm so sorry. I keep getting in the way.
No, you're fine. Looks like they used it for storage last. In fact, it looks like a lot of them were used for storage last. Oh, nice deep skylight up there. And then we're about to make our way into the middle section. Oh, this is interesting. Transition stairs do not use without a guide. I wonder what makes these ones different than the other ones. Then I'm not sure if I pointed these out anywhere at all, but they say for fire. I'm guessing that they probably pull inside lever down. So it's probably like a fire alarm, but they didn't want the patients to have access to them. That would make complete and total sense. So get here into the center administration section. Here is one of the boxes that would overlook the auditorium. So this would definitely be like for the more important people. And just look at this. I'm not sure that this would be the best view, honestly, but it would be pretty cool. And then another room over here. And some photos of it back in the day. So here is, ooh, nice dining room. Let me see if it says on the map what this area would have been. So it doesn't specifically say. I do wonder if maybe this one was specifically the warden's quarters, since the second floor was just listed as doctor's apartments. Oh, look at that. There is still a Weston hospital tag up there. So I wonder if this was, well, you know what? This was probably more of a public one, because this is where they would have entertained people. So, you know, that would make sense. So, this is the clock tower. Unfortunately, we cannot go up to it. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. We couldn't go up to it last time either, but it does look like it doesn't currently work, or if it does, it doesn't have the right time. So here we are. Now you notice this side does not have the wood floors. But other than that, it's pretty much going to be the same. Ooh, it's a nice piece of furniture. An old bed frame there. So we're just going to keep walking down. We're almost getting finished with this. I think this is my longest exploration video ever. Definitely have had some ghost hunts that are longer, but this is the longest that's been like a single take video. And hopefully you guys do enjoy it. Ooh, this says it's the sleeping room. It is locked. I wonder if that was like a room for nurses to sleep in? I have no idea. That used to be the men's restroom. It is locked. Oh, okay, this room's pretty big and has a chalkboard in it. I just love the beautiful colors of the old asylums. And I do believe that this was a fire warning system, maybe? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, because it talks about a hydrant alarm. It seems like it had a bunch of different alarms, possibly. And then finally, we should be entering into our last ward of this video. And we can see some pictures of like the nurses and stuff. And then, again, it is going to be pretty much the same overall. As I walk down this hallway, I'll look to see if there's anything different to show you guys. But this is the Kirkbride building at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum here in Weston, West Virginia. They do all different types of tours, so I would definitely recommend checking it out if you can. I mean, it's a pretty decent small town, and the asylum is here. So I definitely recommend checking it out. And if you have stayed this far into the video, over an hour in, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this look at the asylum, and I hope you're able to visit in person. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And I will see you guys next time with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.